Alright. Hey guys, what's up? It's FNAF Crafter 13 here, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am finally back with some... Alright, ready to say action. Hey guys, what's up? It's FNAF Crafter 13 here, and welcome back to another video. And in today's video... Alright, so let me address this. So a couple of days ago, maybe 2 days before the official trailer came out for the second FNAF movie, I made two videos, part 1 and part 2, of what I thought the second movie was going to be like. You can go watch those videos. Reminder, this was before the trailer came out, so there wasn't any footage, We didn't know any. We only saw it. I only based the parts that we saw in the trailer from the teaser, actually. And that's what I thought. But since the trailer is out, and there are some parts that obviously were not in my explained video because the trailer was not out yet, of course. And so I want to talk about one thing. Actually, no, not talk about one thing. I want to change something a little bit. I'm not going to make another whole FNAF movie 2 explained video by me. But I'm actually going to explain what my theory is going to be about the intro for the movie. So, a lot of people have been theorizing that the whole start of the movie is when the ghost kids, the actors, McKenna Grace, Tio Barnes, or Tio Burns or something, and I don't know the other actor's name, and also the security guard, Freddie Carter, but his real name is Jeremy Fitzgerald in the movie, which we don't know yet. I'm just saying that it is Jeremy Fitzgerald because he's literally the night guard, and we saw from the clip at San Diego Comic-Con, he's wearing a Freddy Fazbear security badge. We saw that from the first movie. So it's a lot of people's theory that Freddie Carter is playing Jeremy Fitzgerald, who we saw in one behind-the-scenes image where the actor for the blonde boy, Grant Feely, he was getting his hair done since his character is blonde in the film. In the background, you can see someone else getting their hair done, and it's Freddie Carter. And the Grant Feely took down the post after that. So, we're not going to talk about that. I'm going to be explaining my thought. What I think is going to be the intro of the second FNAF movie. Nothing after that, just the intro, I'm not going to explain the whole film again because that took literally an hour to make, an hour to edit, so I'm not going to be doing that. I'm only just going to be doing the intro, and that's it. From all the way the kids entering the pizzeria, getting a tour around the place, and then all of them dying. That is just going to be it. Alright, well, I don't want to take any more, everyone's time's up, so let's get on for the second Five Nights at Freddy's movie intro explained by me, my version. So, here we go. The intro starts, of course, like any other movie. It shows the movie companies that work so hard to make on the films. It would say Universal Pictures, then Blumhouse, and then the screen will still be black. And in the background, you can hear crickets chirping as if it's nighttime. And then the screen then shows the second pizzeria's logo with Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, and Toy Chica, and the words Freddy Fazbear's Pizza written on it. It stays like that for a couple seconds, and in the background, you can kind of hear like a van driving somewhere in the distance. It then cuts to the actual sound of the van driving down the road. Inside the van is McKenna Grace. We don't know her actor's name. Then there's Alex, the character who's played by Tio Barnes. And then there's the third guy, and we don't know his actor's name nor the actor who's even playing him. We just know that he has long hair. What matters is that there are 3 people in this van. One is sitting in the back, one is sitting in the passenger seat, and one is driving the van. It shows them driving down the road, and then they pull into a parking lot, in an empty parking lot. Abandoned. They all get out of the car, with one of them holding a camera, and the rest of them holding flashlights. One of them says, "Alright, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza." That's weird. That's definitely not the Freddy's I remember. McKenna turns to him and says, "You're thinking of the franchise location. You're thinking of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place." McKenna points to the building in front of them and says, "That is actually the original. This place opened in the early 80s, but it closed down a couple years later because a little girl got murdered here. They said that some kids were picking on her and they locked her out of the building by blocking it with a Balloon Boy statue. And People claimed that they saw a car pull up and then they heard screams, but they thought it was coming from the kids' cove. And then when they all left the pizzeria, there was blood outside the entrance. And they followed the bloodstains, and it led all the way to the forest right behind us, she says as she points to the forest that's near them. And they figured out it was actually the daughter of one of the owners of the Fazbear restaurants, Henry Emily. The daughter, her name was Charlotte Emily, but goes by Charlie. She was only 7. And people were shocked about what happened. Who could have caused it? The cameras were out. And so they closed Freddy's because they didn't want anything bad happening to like this ever again. And just like any other abandoned place, drunk people, vandals, vandalizes, robbers try to break into the place and try to steal stuff inside. So they hired the night guard. And that's the person who called us on the phone. And that is the story of this restaurant. The 2 boys are shocked to hear about what happened with this place. They just know that someone called them and wanted them to come over to this pizzeria. Alex, the one who's holding the camera, says, "That's just dark. Never knew that happened." McKenna says, "Don't worry about it. It was all the way back in the 80s. They all get startled as they hear the door to the pizzeria opened, and out comes a man wearing a security outfit with a Freddy's security badge. He's not really wearing a security suit, but he's wearing like a coat underneath his purple shirt. The man walks towards them and stops and says, "Oh, thanks for coming, guys. My name's Jeremy Fitzgerald." He puts his hand out as Alex shakes his hand. "Thank you guys so much for coming," he then says. Dylan, the third guy I'm just gonna name because we don't know his name yet, but I'm just gonna call him Dylan because I'm tired of saying Dylan. No, I'm tired of saying the third guy. Dylan says, "Well, it took a long drive to get here." Jeremy chuckles. "Must have been." There's a kind of a silence between all of them. The only sounds are the crickets chirping in the night, and maybe the sounds of a distant car, maybe from far away. Jeremy breaks the silence. "So, shall we head inside?" McKenna says yes, and they all walk over to the restaurant. Jeremy opens the door for them and lets them inside. And all of them turn on their flashlights, including Jeremy. The place is creepy, but it's obviously clear that this place has been abandoned for a long time. It's 2001, and it literally looks like that this place has been closed down since the 80s. There's stuff on the floor, there's cobwebs everywhere, but there are some parts cleaned up, so it looks like Jeremy took care of that. There's also a very disgusting and broken Balloon Boy statue. The sign is broken and nearly falling off his hand. His entire face and body is covered in moth. And even worse, the balloon that he was originally holding is on the ground. Jeremy walks in first, then McKenna, then Dylan, and then Alex. Jeremy stops right outside the entrance to the dining room. He turns back to the group and says, "Welcome to Freddy's." All of them nod as McKenna reaches into her pocket and pulls out a camera, a small camcorder, and she asks Jeremy, "Hey, can I mind if I can record everything?" Jeremy then says, "Of course. That's why you're here, isn't it?" They all they all shrug their shoulders. I mean, they're here to investigate the place and see if there's any ghost. And this is the part right here while Jeremy acts weird. He's like looking at McKenna weirdly or whatever. And he's also having his eyebrow like he's The Rock. I mean, no, like they don't know that yet because it's obvious that he just looks suspicious. McKenna walks into the dining room while Alex is shocked and he asks, "No way! They had a boat ride?" He says as he pulls up his camera and shows a deserted boat in the part of the water. Jeremy says, "Yeah, this restaurant had a lot of unique features." McKenna then says, "Like them in there yet?" Jeremy turns his head and says, "You did your homework." McKenna kind of smiles and then continues looking around. She shines her light at a minaret poster when Jeremy says, "Yeah, the puppet was truly one of a kind." Dylan asks, "What's the minaret?" McKenna then says, "The minaret was a puppet which will come out of a trapdoor on stage and direct the other animatronics during performances." Jeremy says, "That's right. They never made another one." After about 5 seconds of silence, Jeremy says, "Shall we continue?" They all nod, and McKenna and Alex follow Jeremy as Dylan kind of looks at the group as they enter the dining room, while Dylan decides to go into the water ride caves, which is filled with puppet dolls, the Minaret dolls. So Dylan goes into the caves while Alex and McKenna follow Jeremy to the show stage. Jeremy opens it, and McKenna shines her light on the stage. And there they are, the toy animatronics. Jeremy smiles and walks a bit to the side so he can show the guys and McKenna. McKenna is shocked and fascinated by the toy animatronics and the fact that they're still here and the fact that they look clean. I mean, there is a tarp over them to stop from debris to get all over them. McKenna then walks over the trapdoor where supposedly the puppet comes out of and directs the animatronics. Alex says, "They look brand new." Jeremy says then, "Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica." McKenna asks, "Where's Foxy?" Jeremy tells them, well, Foxy was a part of a failed take apart, put back together attraction and was never quite the same after that. Kids can be so heartless. McKenna nods, but then all of a sudden, in her headphones that she's wearing, she hears a nursery rhyme. "My grandfather's clock." She takes off her headphones and the song stops. McKenna then asks, "Did you guys hear that?" Jeremy turns his head, while Alex kind of looks around as he shines the camera on Mr. Cupcake. And he shakes his head, saying that no, he didn't hear anything. McKenna says that she heard music. Jeremy then turns and says, "Fair warning, this place will prey on your imagination if you let it." McKenna isn't really convinced, but she lets it go, as Jeremy then says, "Shall we continue?" So they get off the show stage while McKenna and Alex follows Jeremy. Jeremy then bends down and pulls up some sort of keypad that was underneath the floorboards. McKenna and Alex are shocked and they ask, "Whoa, what is this for?" Jeremy then says as he's pulling out the keys to a keyhole, "This is how they turned on the animatronics during the performance. All you have to do is put your key into the keyhole," and he turns the key. Pop music then plays throughout the whole dining room. Lights go everywhere, which are half broken, but some of them work. The animatronics then perform while the tarp is still around them. They don't really move that much, but they still perform. Music is everywhere. While Alex records, McKenna just watches, and Jeremy just puts his hands behind his back and just watches. Weirdly. We then cut back to Dylan, who is now still walking through the cave. He then finally reaches the end of it. There's like a little loop-de-loop that where you go through and then you go through a circle and then you turn back around. He shrugs and says to himself, "I guess I'll go down the other ride." But before he can take another step, he hears something. A splash of water coming from inside the water. He shines his flashlight into the water of where he heard the sound, and sure enough, there's a little spot where it looks like someone was watching him from and decided to duck underneath the water. Like when you're playing hide and seek and then you're the seeker and you turn around and you see a kid bop back down into the water. That's what Dylan saw. It looked like someone was watching him from the water and ducked right back into the water. He goes silent after that and asks, "Haha, funny, Alex. Funny. Get out of there, man. That water's probably so old." You're gonna get an infection. Nothing. Dylan stops smiling. He's now concerned. It's been a long time. It's been like a whole minute. Where's Alex? If this was a prank, Alex should have been coming up out of the water just now. Because no one is supposed to last that long underwater. Even though he doesn't want to do it, he feels bad for leaving his friend in the water, so he consciously sits down on the edge of the ride and slides in. The water is, in fact, 20 years old, but he knows that if his friend is down here and he possibly got stuck on something, he knows he has to help. So he goes into the water, and he goes underneath the water to see if Alex is underneath there. There's nothing. He searches throughout the entire part of the ride, but there's nothing. He comes back out of the water and puts his flashlight, which is now run out of batteries, or just got damaged by the water. But then the light turns back on, so Dylan finally grabs it and looks under the water again, but there's nothing. As he's about to get out of the water, he hears another splash. He turns in the direction, and sure enough, there's something under the water. But it's coming towards him. It's like something spinning under the water, like two things spinning on a hat. It goes really close to Dylan, while Dylan just shines his light on him, or it, and then it disappears. Dylan looks around the ride, but then all of a sudden, he's pulled underneath the water. Nothing after that. Then, a couple seconds later, or maybe a whole pool of blood then soaks back up to the surface, immediately meaning that Dylan just died. We go back to the show stage as the music finally stops playing, and that's when they all realize that Dylan's not there anymore. Alex tells them that he thought that he saw Dylan go through the ride, but maybe he went somewhere else, they thought. So Jeremy goes back to the security office, which isn't far away, and McKenna and Alex decide to come up with a plan. McKenna will go down to the employees-only room, while Alex will search the party rooms. So then we follow up with McKenna, while she goes down to the launch stairway, and leads up to a single door at the end of a hallway. She opens it and sees the puppet's box. And you're pretty sure what happens. You probably already know what happens after that. McKenna then goes down and decides, I want to see what's inside the box. She sets down her flashlight and her Walkman cassette tape, along with her headphones, and she, sees the switch on the box, and she presses it. The box then opens as a bunch of gears wire as the box opens. The camera zooms in on McKenna's face as she looks in to see the puppet come out of the box, but we don't see the puppet yet, but it's a funny detail, but a really scary detail. You could see the puppet in her eyelids, like your eyes, and then she screams as just before the screen cuts away, you can see the puppet's long fingers get ready to grab McKenna, and then we go to a shot of a machine in the exact same room as the shot right next, which shows the box. And in the background, you can see a blurry form as McKenna gets grabbed and pulled into the box. The box then violently shuts, and then there's silence after that. It's like when you're recording something and you're focusing on a thing that's right in front of you, and right in front of it is something blurry. That is what the scene is. So that means Alex is the only one that's left. He's currently searching all the party rooms. He's checking underneath the tables, he's checking the lockers in them. He's finding nothing. He goes through party room 1, party room 2, party room 3, and party room 4. Nothing. He's currently in party room 4 when he's looking at the walls, seeing all the posters on the wall. Until he hears a mechanical wiring coming from somewhere above. He looks up while his breath is heavy, but there's nothing up there from what he can see. So he takes a couple steps into the room and is like, man, what can I do now? I guess I'm gonna find... Bang! Mangle's mechanical things grab him by the neck, and pull him up into the ceiling. Mangle's second head bites down on him as the camera falls from the ground and hits the floor. The camera goes out. For 5 seconds, we hear the sounds of Alex's screams coming from the dining room as it silently stops, and we hear the sound of a body hitting the ground and other mechanical wiring as Mangle then just walks away. She doesn't walk away, she crawls away. Jeremy then leaves the security office and then goes through the dining room, goes up to the entrance, and as he's about to close the door and lock up for the night, as the sun, you can see in the very distance, the sun is about to come up because it's currently dawn, he smirks and looks into the dining room as he says these words, quote, "My job's done for the day. See you guys next night." Door closes. We can see the outline of him walking over to his car, and that's it. He's gone. McKenna's dead body is stuck inside the puppet music box. Dylan's floating body in the pool of water. And Alex's dead body laying in party room 4. There are 3 bodies laying there, motionless, lifeless. The camera then pulls out from the entrance of the dining room, and while it does that, the words appear on the screen saying, "Universal Pictures present a Blumhouse production in association with Scott Cawthon Productions." The camera then zooms in on the main show stage as the curtains move slightly, and through the fabric that's covering the animatronics, Freddy's eyes light up a bit before going back to darkness. Also meaning the animatronics are also alive. Then intro music plays, and then 8-bit intro from the first movie. Not exactly from the first movie, but you get it. Just another 8-bit intro, just like the first film. And that's it, guys. That is what I think is going to happen in the intro of the second FNAF movie. This is just my version. This is just a theory. So hopefully you enjoyed it. This actually just came up to me literally like 30 minutes ago, and I just made this video between like 22 minutes ago. So hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next video, and thank you all for listening and watching. And happy late FNAF 11th anniversary since it was yesterday. Alright, have a nice day. Bye-bye.